Guys, welcome to the soft razor bob, into more of how you would use this in different areas and in different ways on some of the other haircuts that you do in the salon. So if I just take that section up, put all of this kind of in a pony, drop it down, you can see what you're going to be left with at the end of your bob. Once you've established your whole bob, what's going to live on the top of that hair. And I think the majority of what I'm going to focus my conversation with my client is surrounding these little bits in the front. So our conversation is going to be very much geared towards, you're still going to have these pieces after we cut your bob. So you want to kind of explain that to your client and show them that this is what it's going to be around your face. Or you can at that point talk about, are you adding a fringe and what that's going to look like. So yeah, you just really want to think about their facial structure, suitability. A bob can change so much of what your client looks like, feels like, different areas that you're accentuating. So whereas a triangular shape would kind of lean it out and elongate the front and then also lengthen their neck. So we're going for more of a square shape, adding balance to her. So we're gonna go just below mid-neck is kind of our target of where we're gonna end up. So every time we're bringing down a section, it's going to get a little longer, but our end goal is just longer than mid-neck. I'm going to get her nice and damp, about 80% damp, and then we'll get into the sectioning. So I've started with a center part, just straight down the middle, and we're going to just simply go for our radial section from the top of the crown to just behind the ear. So when I look at her hair, I want to think about where I want those interior layers to fall. And I'm thinking right about here. She has quite a bit of hair, which is lovely for a doll head. So I can afford to have those layers be even just a little bit higher up. Just coming all forward into my hand. And see how my comb kind of naturally goes with the round shape of the head. So anytime you're combing a section, you're getting ready to section it off, comb it into your hand first. Then you can take that section really quick and easy. So I keep wanting to do this because I'm standing to the side, but you're actually going to be standing right behind and using this part of your blade. And then for different clients, it depends on your client's porosity of their hair. If they just really lack moisture and they need that moisture, I go straight in with the NutriCurls. So you just simply come in and you have to use lots and lots of tension when you're just taking off, say like 1/4 of an inch, that tiny little bit of hair. You're working really nice and tight to your fingers in that area. Right when we establish these layers, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment. And you would be, again, just to show you what it would look like when you're in the salon, you would be standing directly behind your client. So you would stand right here, gather all of that hair, pulling the section kind of back towards you, just slightly, so that you can really feel that balance in through both sides. So the first section, I'm gonna do this kind of 3/4 turn so you can see, and I'm also not in your way. So I stand directly behind it, cutting towards my fingers and getting rid of that whole piece of hair to create a nice big separation between here and where my top is. My next section, now I'm gonna gather all of the hair in my hand, making sure that I do not cut off that corner, and just skim across the very top of that section. Okay, so I just wanna show you some of this texture and how beautiful it already is. But yeah, you can already see how soft these pieces are, but it has like a really nice shape to it. But all of these layers are gonna be completely hidden by the hair above here. So if you did cut anything too short, this would be exactly where you would wanna go in and correct that. To match these two, and then take your neck section, cut both sides. That's a great way to ease into doing something that's like a symmetrical bob. So as much as this is very broken and soft edges and all of it, we're still looking for balance and symmetry and shape. using just slightly less of the edge of my blade and a little bit more of the flat of my blade, giving it a very soft texture. And then as you're going through that motion, slowly working through, letting the hair just gently fall away. They always say comb, 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 cut. Because if you're combing more times than you're cutting, you're really focused on every single hair being perfectly even, and then the execution is really quick. Now in through this section, the reason we use these rounded sections is that the top of these rounded sections is essentially where the hair is the heaviest. If I cut this head in half, basically, this is where the most of the hair would be on the head in the back, is right here. And that's why, that's where we're gonna focus most of our layering, is at the top of this round, and then there'll be a little bit less layering as we go back and a little bit less layering as we go forward. I could grab a little bit of this hair, a little bit of that hair, and then you're just connecting it through. It's a little easier to pick up the hair with the fine teeth of your comb, elevating up from the mid down, establishing the length, and all the way through. So it still kind of almost has that one length effect because there's not really layers laying on top of the haircut. So now what I'll do is I'll complete the other section on the top, bring her hair up, her head up, reposition her head, do this on the other side. So we want to add all of that texture in before we finalize the perimeter. And the reason being is that this is kind of that, and you can, if you would like to finish out the haircut, but because I want their hair to look healthy and have a little bit of that blunted effect, I love using my scissors at this point. And then sometimes you will not have, more often than not, you do not have this much hair to cut. And then coming from the back, moving forward, and just letting the hair kind of tell me where to go. So her hair kind of likes to jump up a little bit, so I am gonna need just a slight bit of tension above and cut my triangle. That's why I like using my scissors at this point, because you're just defining and strengthening what you've already created, because you already really set in that short to long and then establish those lengths. See, this is a little bit heavy, so I kind of have to really be strategic with how I cut those. She's got a lot of hair on the back of her head. So if you need to go over it just one more time, just take a look at it, comb everything, and then see if there's anything that pops out to you, anything that looks heavy or unruly. I actually kind of like her having a little bit more length here, so we're not going to add any bang section or anything like that. We're gonna let this flow into her kind of internal layers that are established in there. I think I'm really liking where this is hitting, because I feel like where those shorter pieces are on the interior, it kind of like complements that. So we're gonna roll with it. So you want to take that into consideration with your clients at home, that their hair is actually gonna get a little bit shorter than what it is, especially after you rough dry it, curl it. But the only thing I would do at this point is go through with my comb and my shears and just look at that bottom area and see if I want to define even further. So it's cool because it just really moves and has all of this like pretty kind of light, airy softness, but it'll just fall straight into that style. And this just kind of goes to show that you can absolutely get away with that style, and it's very, very cute, and a style in of itself. So you can see, just use the iron to kind of get that slight wave going all throughout her hair. So I'm very happy with the amount of texture she has, and I'm even more happy that when she actually is out on, you know, out and about, she has tons of movement and her bob feels so light and airy. And when she tucks it, there's gonna be little pieces that pop out, and that she still has just so many options. But I'm also just feel like this is going to be something that I know is going to add value to your repertoire. So that makes me really excited, really, really happy, especially those curved sections and just understanding more about utilizing them and about the heavier areas on the head shape being here through the sides and also the center point in the back, and how to lighten those up and add the right amount of texture throughout. Also how to add some layers through this top hair without it feeling like it's actually a layered cut.